Typically when you come onto a sales floor or when you're part of a sales floor, you begin to adapt to the environment, where the environment is all numbers driven, it's all tier driven, it's all sales driven, and it's not really necessarily focused on the consumer, the end result for your consumer, the relationship that you establish with your prospect. So I think that it's important that we understand both the psychology and also mindset of not only the consumer, who we deal with every day, but also the salesman, who we also deal with every day. And this has to do with your internal dialogue. I think if you understand both characteristics, you'll have an easier time to adjust and thus improve your quality of communication to both, not only the consumer mindset, but also your own mindset. So going over both the consumer mindset and salesman mindset, I like to start with the overall salesman mindset. Depending on your experience level, you will at some point, you'll run across these qualities. And because you took the time to study your craft, you're going to be better prepared for when that time comes. Now let's start off with analyzing the salesman. First, I'd like to step back and look at the salesman with a non-biased opinion, an opinion that will give us the true quality and perception of us dealing with a salesman. I want you to really think about your own personal experience of a salesman, whether you bought a car or you're buying furniture or you're buying something where you're shopping and you're physically there. You can also be doing it online, so you can maybe receive a phone call from a salesman. But I want you to really think back of your experience with that salesman. Did you feel that you were pressured? Did you feel that you were heard? Or like you had to be on guard because you had to take that information from the salesman with a grain of salt? The information you receive from a salesman, it typically is a biased opinion. We can't blame the consumer for thinking that way. But let's think about how we perceive salesmen. Do we look at them in a different light because we also come from that sandbox? Do we give them the benefit of the doubt that they really are trying to help us? Or do we adapt to society and actually go into a sales conversation on guard? I go into it on guard. It's almost like we're playing poker. You don't want to tell them everything because you feel that they may waste your time, or they may bother you, or they may intrude on more than they need to. And typically we like to shine away from that, not only consumers, but us as well. And so when you have that image of the salesman, I really want you to think about what the quality of the communication is. Really listen to that communication. Is the communication more about the salesman trying to push a product, or is it about the salesman trying to hear what you have to say and then align their product with what need you have to fill? So let's go ahead and analyze the mindset of the salesman. The mindset of the salesman is a little bit different than a consumer because the consumer is coming in to buy, whereas the salesman is already planted and trying to sell. The salesman is motivated from different factors than the consumer. A consumer has a need to fill, and the salesman has a product to fill it. Now the salesman, depending on their experience level or their mindset, they're going to come into the conversation with only one objective in mind, and that is to push their product. The reason why the salesman, much like you understand, is that we're driven by another force, not by a force of a need to fill, but a force of having to meet a quota, a force behind us. This could be from management, this could be from your own personal obligations, your liabilities. As a salesman, your income derives from how many sales you can make. And it also is determined based on the quality of sales that you make, because return clients thus improves your overall production, and also your sense of confidence boosts with the more sales that you make. So here's the upside, is that I'm going to share with you why these commonalities of most salesmen actually works to their demise, meaning that it actually brings them down. And I want to share this with you because you may pick some pieces out of the explanation and actually notice that you are doing the same thing. And if you are, this is your opportunity to learn. This is your opportunity to make a noise in a different way. And I'm going to show you how. So starting off with the salesman, we understand that they're driven by a few things. Number one is that they're driven by money, the law of sales. And also they're driven by their quota. They have X amount of days to meet their quota. Some salesmen are different. They have a daily quota, and then some other salesmen have a weekly quota. Depending on when you buy your product is also going to determine the energy level you're going to experience with that salesman. But when you think about the mindset of a salesman, why does it change? Why does the communication or the quality of the service change? Because it is driven by a salesman mindset. And when you understand that the salesman mindset can be adapted and manipulated in a way where it's no longer coming off as a salesman. And so you'll notice that most salesmen will go into the conversation mostly wanting to talk and sell their product. When you notice that as a salesman, you go into a conversation with a specific mindset, realize that you're communicating that mindset through your tone, through your body language, and also through your verbiage. And that is important to understand, because the second that you push that consumer away or that they smell salesman is the second that you lost. You genuinely, absolutely must maintain an image of value. You have information that that consumer can use in order to protect their time, protect their money, and ensure that they do not miss out. You do not want to have them feel that your only intent is to make a quick transaction and a quick sale. Now, the reason why. If you are able to communicate effectively to a consumer the intent to bring them value, they feel the connection. They feel that they were not only heard, but they were given a solution from a consultant. And I think that is the new mindset that needs to be developed in order to continue thriving in the game of sales. When consumers go into a sales conversation, their immediate need, and you should write this down, their immediate need is, number one, is they do not want to waste their time. Time is the most valuable thing that your consumer has, and it's something that when they spend, they need to spend it wisely, because they're never going to get it back. So their worst nightmare is to waste hours, if not minutes, with you talking about something that's irrelevant to them. And so understand that, is that their main focus is to save time. Their second focus is to save money, meaning that they understand that they have options. Consumers nowadays, due to technology advances, has the ability to shop anywhere in the world for whatever product they want. They can go on Amazon right now and literally click it and then pull up a product where they can just click a button and it's buy now. So it'll come to the doorstep within a matter of days. So, we don't really have to wait too long to get a product. If we pay a little bit extra, we actually get it the next day. So you have to think about that, because it's the concept of they want the one-click demand service. And that, again, that teeters onto the emotion of protecting their time, but it also touches on an emotion of fear of losing money, meaning that they don't want to pay more than they need to. But more importantly, they want to make sure that your product is as good as you say. Again, a salesman is more of a biased opinion when it comes to a consumer, because understand, you are still a stranger to them. When a consumer comes in to your place of business or calls you on the phone, or you call that consumer to describe and explain how your products will fulfill their need, understand again that they have a fear of losing time, a fear of losing money, but also a fear of missing out. And that could be anything from the expiration date of a particular special, or of a particular interest rate, or maybe the market is changing, and so they have this awareness that the market does move, because they understand and they also remember from their own personal experience what that price was before, and because they saw it on a special or they saw a particular number, they're calling in to inquire. Now keep in mind though, even though they called in to inquire, does not mean they're ready. Most salesmen believe that, oh, you called me, then you must want to do business with me. When in all reality, it's much like them looking at your website. They're just looking, and they want to not only hear from you, but they want to do a little bit of research. And everyone learns messages in a different way. People like to only hear information, and that's the best way they learn. Some people like to see the information, that's the best way they learn. And some people actually like to be hands-on, meaning they like to hold it in their hand, and that's the way they learn. And so we have to understand these different type of concepts and different preferences with regards to absorbing information, using that information to their advantage, and ultimately walking away with true value and that need being fulfilled. So I want you to understand the mindsets. I want you to not only pay attention to your mindset as a salesman, but look at it through a different lens. Right now, as of today, before this course, you had a filter on your lens. So do the consumers. Your filter was a bias filter, meaning that you were only really concerned about your objective at hand, your goal at hand, your tier at hand, or your sale pitch at hand. And when we back up and we actually remove that bias filter and we look at it as, hey, I can really help this person. I know a lot about my products. Let me make sure that you're in the right place first. And if we are, I'll show you exactly what I could do to help you. But if you're not, I'm gonna help you save a bunch of time. I'd hate for you to look over here if what you need isn't over there. So follow me and I'm gonna show you how to fix that need. In so many words, right? But you understand the difference in the tonality. The difference in the tonality of, hey, check out this product. This product is great. You're gonna love it. It's going to help you and your family do this and that and this and that. But the problem is that this and that probably isn't in line with that consumer's mindset or that need that they need to fill. So you have to do a little bit more of investigating, and that has to do with the sales conversation. The sales conversation is just as important as understanding your opponent, which is the prospect, but your other opponent is also yourself. You have to be able to catch your mindset and make sure that you're not going too aggressive or too far down the rabbit hole of having that biased lens on. Because if you do, they're gonna smell the salesman, then they're going to get right back on guard. And the absolute best way to sell is to not sell. So I'm going to cover that with you in the sales conversation piece and also the prospecting piece, where we're going to cover different parts of prospecting, how to initiate a sales conversation, how to create interest in that sales conversation so that they can continue with that conversation. Ultimately and covertly, you're going to extract the information that's going to tell you exactly how to sell your prospect. You're going to love this, and I'll see you in the next course.